What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mr. Madrid from the Mr. Madrid Show, and today's guest is someone I originally came across on Instagram, saw his content, and it just had me cracking up. But the more I learned about him, the more I realized there was much bigger story behind the humor. Chadwick J. Johnson is a personal injury attorney, the founder of Mindful Jury Law, and a content creator with more than 73,000 followers. And this is just the one account that I know of. I know he has multiple. He has found a unique way to combine law, personality, mindfulness, and comedy. Today, we're going to talk about his journey, his career, social media, comedy, family, and what it all looks like to pursue more than one calling. Chadwick, welcome to the Mr. Madrid Show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you making some time. I know that you're in the middle of conducting your business there, so I appreciate you, sliding me in there somehow, some way.
Of course.
Something that I always ask all my guests just to get to know them a little bit more. Who is Chadwick?
Oof. That's a complex question, man. Who is Chadwick? Well, I wear a lot of hats like most of us do. I'm a family man. I got a huge family. Like, me and my wife been married for 29 years. We have 5 kids. I'm a professional. I'm an attorney. I'm an entertainer. As you know, I do my comedy and I've always been kind of an entertainer doing music. I used to do hip hop. Who is Chad? That's a very deep question, man. Because it could be answered on a spiritual level or it could be answered on the surface level. But I would just say I'm just a very complex individual who loves people, who prioritizes my inner peace, and very motivated and trying to inspire others and just trying to be the best person I could be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love the version that you gave us because it's true. Like in watching your videos and seeing all the things that you do and you talk about, I can see why it's not a what is a loaded question. There's just more than what meets the eye. Like we're gonna need a couple episodes to break that down, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely you know I'm definitely not your run of the mill dude. I'm
Yeah.
just I'm just wired a little different, and that has taken me down great some paths that has been beneficial, and then it's also taken me down some rocky roads. So I'm just glad to be where I am, man. Glad to share.
Yeah, man. Awesome. So I originally found you because your videos were hilarious. Like I saw you on Instagram, you've come up multiple times and like anybody else, the first time you see it and then you kept popping up and your consistency is what I love and inspires me because I'm like, and I think you posted a video, I don't know when it was, but I saw it today where you're talking about somebody telling you like you got to post multiple times every single day, right? And
Yeah,
that's something
yeah.
that as a content creator myself, I'm yearning for, right? I'm learning how to make fit that time because if it's something you want, you pursue it. And it's been
hmm
fruitful for you because you've built a nice following, right? Which is awesome. But as far as the comedy portion of it, has that always been a part of you, like pursuing comedy or being a comedian?
No, absolutely not. That's brand new, actually. I've always been a funny dude, though. Like, I've always been able to make people around me laugh. I've been kind of that guy. I've been kind of a class clown when I was in school. So I've always had a good sense of humor. But as far as like actually doing comedy on social media, that just started in October of 2025. I posted a video that I knew it was kind of funny, but I didn't intend for it to do what it did. It just blew up, man. It started going viral. And I was like, what? I was surprised. I was like, this is viral? I could do this. This is easy. This is easy. I can do this every day. So I just started making up like random, just talking about random stuff, man.
Right.
And you said, just doing it every day, and that consistency has paid off.
The one that I saw and I joined this all happened because I joined your live, right? I joined one of the lives that you did and you were walking in your backyard and you were talking to different people and I'm the type of individual I am, and I shared some of this offline with you that I'm a salesperson at heart, no matter what. I'm like, I'm gonna shoot my shot and see if he would be interested in being a guest on the show, right? And
Yeah.
you were like, yeah, let's see if we can make it happen. And you kept it flowing, and I just kept pressing. Like, and I think, and I was the guy that was trying to get you to curse too. I don't know if you remember that. You were on
Yeah, I
live. I
do
was like, go
remember
ahead,
that.
let's
And
curse,
that
let's
was
curse.
recent. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
that was super
recently.
recent. Yeah. And I was like,
Okay.
you were sharing that you've done hip hop and then you spit some lines, some verses, and it was super dope.
Mhm.
I'm like, it's just so cool to see somebody who's a professional, you're an attorney, but to see that
Mhm.
there's so much more to you than just being an attorney. Like you're a funny dude,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and then you're talking about how you loved poetry, you used to rap, you used to pursue hip hop, and a bunch of us like, yeah, you don't do hip hop, and you started spitting, and I was like, oh snap, this is awesome. So I'm like, even more of a reason to have you on the show so we can just talk about everything, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
what made you agree to come on the show? Like, and now that I gave you kind of the rundown of where this all started, ultimately, what made you say yes?
Well, now okay, so now I do remember you hit me up on the live, and, I'm a I'm big on, like, being really authentic, you know what I mean? Because I feel like people have a sixth sense, and they could kind of if they don't know it, like, consciously, they know it subconsciously that you're just doing it for the money or you're just doing it for some ulterior motive. So when I get on live, I get on there to connect, like genuinely to try to connect and find relationships and give back to the people who support me. So if you holler at me while I'm on live and you catch my attention, then and I say I'm gonna be on your live, then I meant it. I mean it. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not just saying that during the live just to get you out of my conversation. And I did go check out your live, I mean your your podcast, your social media, and it looks professional, like you're helping yourself. I always want to help people who are helping themselves.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's just the formula. If somebody's already helping themselves, then I want to do what I can to help as well.
yeah,
And I just, it's not that it wasn't real deep. It was just like I said I would. You look like you know what you're doing. So yeah, let's get it done.
yeah, yeah. And that's
And then
awesome,
and
man.
then and then I kind of forgot about it. And like I said, when we are off camera, you just were consistent, you stayed on it, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I do wanna do that." So, I'm glad you did, man, so here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate you, man, coming on because I know, and then we've spoken about it because your schedule, you run your own firm there, and you mentioned that
Yeah,
you're the only attorney there. So I'm sure, as you mentioned, you wear multiple hats. So just, I
exactly.
respect the fact that you made time for this and that you did keep your word. When I may have thought, just because people are people, people will people all the time, and
All the
you know how it
time,
is when like
consistently.
you're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, we'll get up," and then it never happens, and I was just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
"I'm gonna follow through with this to see," and I appreciate that it was reciprocated, so that was super awesome. So,
Yeah,
leading to my next question, so before becoming an attorney, and I hope I got these facts correct because I did some work behind the scenes, right?
yeah, okay, okay.
I found out that you did play college football and you worked in
Yeah,
technology, right? So
yes.
take us back. What did you originally believe that you were gonna do as a career for yourself?
So I thought I was gonna play professional sports. I grew up with one of those families that we were gifted athletically, and I had every intention of playing some type of professional, either basketball or football. That's in high school, and then I chose football for college, and you know, I put all my eggs in that basket. I was a really social dude. I didn't care about school that much. I wasn't really into academics. I was really into my social life and football. So I pledged a fraternity and was out there, just kicking it and trying to be a football player. But in hindsight, now that I've grown and learned all my lesson, I realized that I didn't work hard enough to be a professional athlete. You know,
Right.
it wasn't in my cards, and I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't make it, but at the time, that's what I thought was gonna happen. So, and, when I finished my scholarship at Sac State ran out, I finished my college career. I had a couple looks here and there at the Chargers and went to some tryouts with the Niners and stuff like that, but my heart wasn't in it and my work ethic wasn't up to par
Right.
to play professional sports. So I ended up in the work field, man. And that was a journey. That was definitely a journey.
Is that where you ended up like doing tech work? Is that
Kinda. I mean, so here's what happened. So I got a temp job. I needed a job, so I got a temp job and I had been practicing typing. So I knew how to type. So I got a temp job and they said, okay, there's annual enrollment in Walnut Creek, California. We're hiring like 80 people to answer phones during annual enrollment when people call in for their medical benefits. So I was like, I need that job. I took that job. So I was in that call center and I worked really hard and, developed a lot of relationships and I ended up being like a supervisor of some people and then I ended up getting hired on permanent. So I'm permanent employee of this call center and then when annual enrollment was over, I noticed that there was another side of the building where there was people who were driving nicer cars than us. And I
mm,
went over there and I was like, what are these people doing? And I learned that they were the software developers of the system that we were using to enroll these employees. And it just so happened that they needed business analysts that knew the system well to come over and test for them. So I did that. I went over there and I was testing. And while I was over there, I was just being myself and just meeting people and just creating relationships. And I found out that they have like this program where they send these people to Michigan for 6 weeks to become programmers, computer programmers, but you had to have a computer science degree. Now I had just dropped out of college and I hadn't even finished my criminal justice degree, but I told them that I had a degree. I just lied. And they're like, "Oh, you got a degree?" Yes. And they're like, "Okay, well, you can go to this IED program in Michigan." So me and my wife went to Michigan for 9 weeks actually. We went to Michigan for 9 weeks, and I had to get a book called Learn C in 21 Days. It's a programming book, and I just studied the book and went through that intensive class, and when I came back, I was a computer programmer. That's it, and I did that for 16 years. I faked it till I made it, you know,
so
and
did
that's
they
how I
ever
ended up in.
find out like that you were and did it matter? Did it
It never mattered. It didn't matter because by the time I mean, I worked there for 16 years. I held my own. Like I
Yeah,
really hustled to learn how to do it, learn how to code. It's a lot of paperwork. Again, relationships is everything. Like they love me there too,
right,
so they wanted me to succeed. And I got to the point where there was like a glass ceiling. Like I was like, I do not
right.
want to do this for the rest of my life. And plus, I was making decent money, but I always envisioned myself making a lot of money so
Top
that I
dollar,
could,
yeah,
yeah, top dollar, so I could have the freedom that I wanted to
right.
have in this life. So I got like, I guess, 10 or 11 years in, and I was like, I think I need to go back to school and finish school. And then I decided to be a lawyer. So I went
So
to school at night and worked during the day.
so question for you. So before we go into to the law portion of it, and this is something that's very important to me because I heard this a long time ago. I used to work at a blueprinting company, and the VP of the company, for some reason, was in my area, and he's like, "Can I use the phone?" Like he wanted to use my phone. He wasn't really asking. He grabbed it. So he was talking, and he was shooting the breeze. And I'm not gonna curse on here. I'm not. I'm gonna try my best. I've been
I don't
trying.
care. I don't care, dude. I curse in real life. Trust me. We'll get into that too. Yeah.
So so he started talking, and he goes, "Well, so and so. Well, it's no longer about who you know. It's about how well you treat who you know." And that stuck to me. I was 19. I'm 38 now. That stuck to me, and it never left my mind. And I'm naturally somebody who nurtures relationships a little, but I'm not a master networker, right? And hearing
Uh-huh.
you talk about how you network with people, what does that mean for you? Like, what is it to you to network with people, and how do you do it?
Yeah. I just have a sense. I believe that, you know, if you love, like if you genuinely love people, that'll come across and people will love you back. That's not always the case. Obviously, I've been burned by that,
Right.
but I just stay true to it. I just stay true to it. I fall in love with people fast, you know, like people I will think that we're best friends and we just met, you know. I'm just that type of dude, you know. I let my guards down with people. You know, I didn't realize I was networking for a long time. I just thought I was just a lovable guy. You know, I love people and they just love me back. I could make them laugh. I could listen to them and not just be thinking about myself all the time. And then just being socially intelligent, that kind of was a gift. You know, obviously, I read books about it later on and learned about it a lot more in depth, but a lot of it just came natural to me. And I realized that it was networking. That's why I know you don't want to jump ahead. But that's why when I started my business, I was successful from the start. I didn't have to worry about getting clients because I had already lived my whole life not burning any bridges and creating relationships. So all I had to do was let people know that I'm a lawyer now and that I needed clients, and people started sending them to me,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's just I think that's just it, you know. The universe kind of treats you good when you are good to its people, you know.
I like that. I hope that that's something that people take away from this portion of the episode is just being good to others and just the power of, what goes around comes around. I'm big on that. Like what you put out is what you get back. And like yourself,
Absolutely.
and this is something I like doing within the pod too, is just finding common ground. Like I have conversations with my sister all the time where she's like, Anthony, you can't like start people off at 100. And that's something that I genuinely hate because it's almost like the best way I could compare it to in a real quick way is I should be able to go to your house, put my wallet down and not worry about a damn thing. And that's the kind of people I want around me. It's not just the wallet, it's the meaning behind that's how comfortable we are with each other. Like you should be able to come over to my house and not have to worry. Like you're in a safe space, we shoot the breeze and just be normal. That
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really what it is. I think a lot of times that's where people get caught up. So moving on to you left the tech field and you wanted to get some more
Mhm.
paper, right? You went
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
school. So what led you to law? What was that step that you were like, this is it?
Well, I think at the time I was watching a lot of legal fiction, like law TV shows. There was I want to say Boston Legal was popular at the time, and there was some other shows, and then I also started getting into reading. Like, that's when I started reading a little bit more, and when I started reading John Grisham books, and John Grisham writes a lot about lawyers, you know, new lawyers, lawyers joining law firms, lawyers in trial and stuff like that, just good stories, you know? And it just kinda, you know, our imagination goes wild. And so when I was trying to figure out what do I want to do if I don't want to be a computer programmer, what do I want to do? Being a lawyer was the first thing that came to mind. I just imagined myself in court speaking to the jury, and you know, I I was like, if there was no limitations, I wasn't worried about how much it cost or how hard it was or anything. If I could just snap my fingers and be anything, what would it be? And I said lawyer. So then I was like, okay, here we go. I just
Yeah.
took a risk, you know,
And then what made you pick
took a
like
chance.
you did mindful injury law, right? That's the name of your
Yeah,
law
yeah,
firm.
yeah,
Why did you pick that? And I hate to call it niche because I hate that word when people talk about like
yeah.
what's your niche. But why did you pick that part of law?
You mean injury law? Okay.
Injury law, yeah.
So So I have to back up a little bit. So while I was in law school, when I first started law school, the stress of working full time, having a family, and going to law school at night, it kind of created like a psychological episode, basically. In other words, I just started having panic attacks. Like I started having like regular panic attacks, like right at the beginning of law school. And our law school was 4 years, so like 2005 to 2009, I was having panic attacks. And if
Oof.
you've ever had a panic attack, you know it is. terrifying. And once you have one, you're just kind of always on edge thinking you're going to have another one. And I lived like that all through law school, you know? And then right when I was about to finish law school, I was studying for my last set of finals in law school. I picked up a book and I read it and read the first few pages. It was called The Power of Now. And after I read that first couple pages of that book, I had what I can only describe as like a spiritual awakening. Okay, right there in Borders books. So I'm literally standing there looking at this book, and I'm crying tears of joy, and I'm just over. My heart is beating out of my chest, and I'm at peace, a peace that I could never even describe with words. And I knew from that moment on I would never have another panic attack. So I somehow I finished my last set of finals, but I just dove into that book, and every book referenced in that book, I've read it and dove into it. And every book referenced by those books, I read those. And I just was, I was just obsessed with my inner peace and with that newfound awareness. So I would walk to the river every day and just meditate hours. I tried to quit my job. I told my job, I quit. This is not for me. And they were like, you know what? Just take a leave of absence. Don't quit. Just take a leave of absence. I was like, okay. I didn't care. I was like a monk. I was changing my underwear, obviously, but I was wearing the same sweatsuit every day.
Yeah.
My family reminds me of it all the time. I would wake up in the morning, meditate, walk to the river, meditate for hours, come back to the house, maybe eat something, go back to the river, meditate. It was like I was just in that world because I knew that something supernatural had happened because I was living with panic attacks for the last 4 years.
Right.
And now all of a sudden I'm at peace. So I'm gonna get to it. So fast forward maybe, you know, a year or so. Now I'm teaching in the community this found wisdom that I have, this inner peace, how to quiet your mind, how to stay in the present, just inner mindfulness and meditation basically. I'm renting out libraries and creating flyers. I'm just trying to spread the word. It's like I'm obsessed again. And I had people would invite me to their homes to speak on it. And I went into someone's home one day and it was a room full of people and they were just there for a few hours and just asking me questions and meditating and just being spiritual. And it just so happened that one of the people in the room was a injury lawyer in Sacramento. And I was waiting for my bar results and we were having small talk about that. And then a few days later, the host of the event called me and said the man wanted to take me to lunch. And I accepted. I went to lunch and he offered me a job and I just quit my job on the spot. I was like, okay, I quit. Now I'm an injury lawyer. What does this mean? You know what I'm saying? What is
Yeah.
these? What do you guys do? You know? And he showed me the ropes and he showed me behind the curtain. It's a very interesting profession or area of law. It allows me the flexibility and I wouldn't ask for any other area of law. And I'm so happy.
That's powerful. And is that the reason because I'm, putting things together with having those panic attacks and then mindful injury law, is that where the
Yeah.
whole reasoning behind, like, why did you choose that name?
Yeah, because I promised, because I didn't. Okay, so when I finished law school and I went and started going to the meditating and all that stuff, I finished law school in 2009. I didn't even take the bar exam until 2014. So that whole
Wow.
time, I was just straight up mindfulness, meditation. Like that's all I cared about, either teaching it or learning it, teaching it, practicing it, learning it. Right. So then when I decide, okay, I'm at peace, I'm free, I'm anchored in my peace. I think I'll take the bar. I think I'll go back and practice law. And when I passed the bar and I started working, I was like, anything I do in my life is going to have something to do with mindfulness, no matter what. Whatever I do, I'm going to incorporate mindfulness in it. So I worked for that firm for about 18 months and I was making him a lot of money. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start my own firm. And when I do that, I'm gonna call it mindful injury law so that I could still give my workshops and do all my work, my mindfulness work. And then I could also write all that off. You know what I mean? So make it a
Smart.
part of my business.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So it's basically mindful. I use the mindfulness thing. You know, I create I no longer give workshops, and that's for other reasons. We can talk about that if you want later on, but I still I'm still a mindfulness enthusiast. I still practice mindfulness and meditation on a daily basis. And I just I'm able to incorporate it into my life and into my practice and into my customer service. And it just allows me to have a peaceful environment, you know. But yeah, that's how I incorporate it into my business. And yeah, I still like I just did a workshop for at Sacramento City College. Actually, no, it was downtown for all of the junior college professors in the California, a mindfulness workshop for them, you know. So I still get asked to talk about mindfulness and meditation from time to time. But as you know, I'm a comedian now.
That's right. And that's
Yeah,
interesting,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
in touching, when you mentioned the part about the panic attacks, I always think about the movie Analyze That with Robert De Niro and, Billy Crystal when I don't know if you've seen it, but in the episode, he's a
Don't think
mafia
so.
boss. So he's a
Okay.
Robert De Niro, typical, right? Mafia boss. Billy
You're
Crystal
right.
plays the shrink.
Okay.
So ultimately, Robert De Niro is getting older in the game. He's a boss, and he feels like he's having a heart attack. And they take him to the hospital, and the doctor tells him, and it was a comedian that played the doctor. He's like, "You had a panic attack." He's like, "Do I look like a guy that panics?" They close the curtain and they start whooping him. But that's what it was. And ultimately, in watching that, he's like, when he was about to hit the guy, he was like, "Do I look like a guy that panics?" When I got my first one, it was in my sleep, and I woke up and I was like,
Mm.
and I'm gonna have a heart attack. Like, I been overweight for a long time, so I'm like, all right, that's it. This is it. So I get up and my wife she's like, you okay? And I'm like, I feel like I can't breathe. My heart is racing. And all I could ever think about is like controlling my breathing. So is that like a strategy for you? Is it breath work or more than
I
that? It's
mean,
probably more than
that's
that, right?
definitely it's more than that. It's definitely breath work that has something to do with it. But breath work is the physical side of things, right? That's like a portal to quieting your mind, right? So the goal is to ultimately understand that you are not your thinking. Like to have a realization that I have thoughts, but I am not my thoughts. The problem is that we feel like we are our thinking. Our thoughts are just talking away, and you think that's you in there talking. But really, that's just like a tape that's going on from your memories and what you remember from the past. And it's like a habitual yapping in there that you identify with as you, right? So when those thoughts turn against you and start attacking you or giving you fear, if you don't know that that's not you and those are just thoughts, then you have to have the fear. You have to go down that journey of fear and worry. Or if it makes you panic, then you have to panic. But if you know that you are not your thinking, then you can say, oh, there goes my thoughts again. Let me be still.
Wow. Wow.
You see, because at our core, we are silent. At your core, you are silent. When you came into this earth, when you came into this world, into this existence from your mother's womb, you were a silent being. You
That's
learned you learned how to talk and think and do all that stuff later on. That's not original to you. So
yeah.
when I had my spiritual awakening, I remembered what was original to me. And when I was walking to the river and sitting with the ducks for hours upon hours, I was just sitting with that part of me that was original to me. I wasn't interested in what I had to think, what I was thinking about, because that's all man created. That's what I learned later on. There's something there's a more ancient silent wisdom within all of us, but it's buried under everything that we think.
That's deep. That's deep. The what I could compare it to too is just when I'm the most at peace is when I'm doing nothing. Like when I can just legit like just sit somewhere And my thing is coffee shops. Like I love going to a coffee shop by myself. It's similar to going to the movies by yourself too. I love that. And just
Mhm.
sitting down, having a cup of coffee and just not even being on the phone, just kind of like people watching or just being at peace.
Yeah.
That and
Yeah.
sometimes, Chad, that's my way to unplug from the world. There's times that I've called out from work where I'm like, listen, I need to take a sick day.
Mhm.
And I once you have a family, you really don't have sick days for you. Usually sick days are for your kids to take them to doctor's appointments. So when I said I told my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna take a day and I'm gonna go sit in Starbucks or find like cool little coffee shop, and I just need to just go and type up some things and just chill. So I get it, man,
Yeah.
and I think we need that. And I love the not to go into a different topic, but I heard when I think it was one second, please. I'm sorry.
Of course.
It was Jim Carrey that said when he was talking about depression is because you need to like depress. Like you have so much of the world's weight on top of you that you just need a moment to just like almost like decompress. You need to just so that like talking about like anxiety or panic attacks. That's what it reminds me of. And for me, that's what it was. The moment where
Mhm.
I realized I had it. I haven't had one in a long time. But I think it's because I just submitted to the fact that I know God is ultimately in charge. That's my way of looking at it. And that brought peace to me where I'm just like, I was driving when I had the last one. And in the middle of driving, I'm like, and I'm on the road and I'm like, oh, I'm going to get into an accident. This is it. And in me trying to control it and panic and all this, I'm like, God is in control. I legitimately, like, I got to work and told everybody that this happened to me, and it was just, I know, even if my heart rate goes a little, like, I'm just like, I try to relax myself and just know that whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and I feel like if anything, I'm just gonna make it worse if I let my thoughts start like really penetrating into the way I'm gonna react. So I would love to see
Right.
one of those like projects that you do or when you talk to people about meditation and how you've handled it, not to veer off, but I think it's important too because I'm sure it's not just us and there's a bigger world out there. I didn't even know what it was till it happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to
Right.
multiple people. And being a family man, juggling all these things, it can easily happen.
Absolutely, man. It's a reality of life. If you're not doing something to manage your mental health,
Yeah,
then you're probably doing some type of drugs or doing something unhealthy
right.
to mask it. So I'm definitely a proponent of it, and honestly, I could talk about it all day. So
Yeah, and I feel that. I feel that. So, moving on to, I know we were about to touch on comedy. Like, when did you decide to take that on and take it seriously? Because, and seeing the work that
mhm.
you put into your clips on social, same thing that you mentioned to me earlier, you can see that you're pouring into it, and it's not forced either because it comes natural. And I'll share with the audience in a bit, though, the one that really caught me. But what made you, and when
Okay.
did you pursue it?
So yeah, like I said, I posted a video that went viral in October of last year. And basically the video was very simple, it was very short. I said, ladies, something about you got that pinky toe, that
That's it. That's
pinky
that is
toe that look a piece of rice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I said, paint that thing. And bro, I posted that and it went crazy on every platform, like millions and millions of views. I was just so shocked.
I
So then I was
sent
like,
it
oh,
to a bunch of people. That's the video.
yeah,
I sent it to
yeah, that's the
everybody I
one.
knew. Yeah, I'm like this is hilarious. And then the way you just, Chad, you got to know this about yourself. You're very smooth, so you're like,
Thank you.
paint that thing. And I was like, oh, so carry on.
Thank you, man.
Sorry.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no. So after that video, I was like, that went viral. I was like, oh, I could do that. I could do
Yeah,
this all day, every day. So, and honestly, I wanted to do something that was very authentic because I had the previous year, I paid a guy like $50,000 to create these videos for me that I was posting on a regular basis, just the same. But they weren't entertaining. They were just more so like, talk to me about the law, talk to me about injury law. He was just interviewing me and recording me. They were high quality. He was chopping them up. They were edited, and he was posting them every day.
yeah,
But they weren't. No, no, don't nobody want to see that,
yeah,
right? So then I let him go. He did a great job. That's what he does. But I let him go, and then I did that. I made that pinky toe video, and it went viral. And I was like, they want to see this. This is what the
Yeah,
people want to see. So then I just started making, you know, I just started making videos. And like I said, at first it was like, you know, once I would post like once a day, and I got better at it over time. They weren't blowing up like the pinky toe video,
yeah,
but they were getting views. They were getting more views than any of my other videos, and I was getting a lot of feedback. Like, everybody was telling me how funny I am. They would talk about my facial expressions, and I would have to go back and watch the video to see what facial expressions are they talking about, because I didn't know. I was just like, just trying to really just being as authentic as possible. Um, Basically, the people were, telling me. I started getting so much feedback about how funny I was. And I was like, I knew I was funny. I didn't know I was that funny.
yeah,
So then I was like, okay, maybe I'm on to something. So that's basically how it went, man. And I'm just going with it. I'm still kind of in. It's still kind of amazing to me, like I got a whole bunch of celebrities following me and leaving comments on my page and liking my page. I'm getting recognized in public. Like, if I go to somewhere with like a lot of people, somebody's gonna stop me and
yeah.
be like, "You're the guy from Instagram." So it just kind of took on a life of its own. It's been an interesting journey.
How does that feel like when people bump into you in the street and because and the reason I'm asking is not so much for the fame aspect of it, but it's mostly because you said you love people. So I feel like
Yeah,
you're getting it's much deeper than obviously we're human and that's
yeah,
flattering. Like, oh snap, like I'm that guy right now, right? But
yeah,
aside
yeah,
from that,
yeah.
how does it on a deeper level, how does it feel that you're impacting people like that, that they get excited to see like, because it takes a lot to go up to somebody and be like, you're that guy. How does that feel for you?
Right. It's amazing, man. Honestly, I feel like there's something. There's something to say about that human interaction, because I don't do a lot of stand up. I recently started doing stand up, but most of my videos are in my private area, in my backyard or somewhere private. And I don't get to really see people's reactions. All I get to see is laughy face emojis or what they say, comments. And although I do see those, and I do watch them, there's something missing. Like, I don't get to actually enjoy that moment of laughter
With
with
the
them.
people, right? You want to touch the almost like
With
touching the people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, let's laugh together. I think it's funny too. That's why I created it. Let's laugh together. So
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm out, like I was at my family, I live in Sacramento, California, and I was had a family reunion this weekend in Arizona, and we went to this restaurant. And as soon as I walked in, somebody was like, "Chad." He was like, "Oh, I follow all your pages." I was like, "What's up?" And I went over and I shook his hand and I gave him a hug, and I was like, "Thank you, man. I appreciate the support." He was like, "Man, keep doing that, man. Keep doing your thing." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I love that." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's starting to happen a little bit more often and more frequently right now.
That's
So
a
it's
beautiful
crazy.
thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, and I love that for you because in just getting
Yeah.
to know you with this episode and you talking about how you love on people and how you had a natural ability to network just because you're just a good person, right? And you just want to open up to people, and it's awesome to see or hear that people are appreciating a different side of you too that people may have not known and something that you just took on in October of last year. So it's
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah,
right?
man.
It's super dope
S-
to see that, and it's funny
So
because
blessed.
that video is what did it for me. So
Oh, really?
my
Okay.
wife tells me not to say this in public, and now I'm saying it in a podcast episode. I have, and I don't want to say a toe fetish because it's not that, but I just appreciate
Yeah, yeah.
nice feet. And
Me
my
too.
my
Me.
older brother was the one that did it for me. He said that Elvis supposedly or allegedly Elvis Presley, before he allowed, his security guard allowed people to the back, they used to check the girl's feet. And if she had, they didn't let her through. Right? I don't know how true this is, but my older brother
But it
told me
makes
about this.
sense.
So, and then he used to show me, he's like, yo, check out these, Pamela Anderson back in the day. Like, look at her feet. So I'll stop there so it doesn't get any weirder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get
But
it. I get it.
like, that's my thing. Like, I like, because I think if you take care of those things, it just means a lot more that you just take care of yourself. And we all could
Yes,
appreciate that. So I'll stop there.
of
But then
course.
when you
Of
mentioned the
course.
pinky toe being like a little grain of rice, I lost it.
Yeah.
When I tell you, had tears in my eyes. Like, and I get into like deep laugh attacks where
Yeah.
I act a fool. And the thing is, it's bad where I can't be like, I'll walk away. That's how bad it gets. And my wife is really funny, so she'll say things, and I walk away, and I'm like, I can't, because if the person, we make fun of people, it's just all in good fun.
Yeah.
But I just walk
Yeah,
away.
of course.
But that was
Yeah.
one of the moments, and I sent it to I sent it to everybody that I could possibly send it to. And then when I talk about you, I'll say like, "You guys ever seen it?" Like, yeah, and it's awesome to see. I'm like, me being excited, like I'm gonna have him on the pod. You know what I mean? So it's
Oh, that's
cool.
dope.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Oh,
super
that's
awesome,
real
man.
dope, man. I appreciate it, man.
And then since you're mentioning too, like, you know, you getting deeper into comedy to touch the people and to kind of enjoy that moment with them. When I was on the live with you, you were mentioning getting out there. Have you gotten out
Yeah.
there and done some stand-up comedy, and do you have anything in the works or planned?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've done a little bit here and there, like little shows. I've done several open mics, just kind of trying to figure out what it's like being up there making people laugh on purpose. It's something I gotta get used to that I'm very comfortable speaking in front of people. I'm still kind of nervous about whether or not they're gonna laugh at my punchlines or my jokes until I get that first laugh, and then I can just be myself and just be funny. But before I go up, I'm super nervous, and I do have a couple. I have been accepting some gigs coming up pretty soon. Like I have a show in Sacramento this Sunday. It's like a smoke and choke show, like a weed head show. I don't
Yeah,
know what that's gonna be like. And then I got invited to do a fashion show in Dallas, and I got another invited to do another stand up show in Savannah, Georgia, that I'm gonna do. So I'm excited that it's giving me the opportunity to travel and see the world a little bit.
yeah,
But and in the future, I'm hoping that it really opens up the door and changes my life altogether. So I I'm one of those dudes that just dreams big. Like I dream huge, enormous. I dream enormous. So and I just feel like I don't limit God and what God can do for your life. Like
amen.
today I'm the attorney who does social media comedy. Tomorrow, you never know, bro. You
You
never
coming
know
to
what
see
could
me in the
happen.
theater, you just don't.
Right, you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
never
I love
know,
that.
you know what I'm saying?
I love
And
that.
I mean, if that's in the cards, like, but I also think too that sometimes you gotta be careful what you ask for, right? Everything isn't as it seems. So I want everything I want everything to feel as natural and authentic as this situation is.
Right,
When I
right.
got on your podcast, I wasn't worried. I wasn't like, I don't know, or, doubting or nothing, no fears or no worries. I just was like, "Oh yeah, let's go."
Let's do it. Yeah.
So when I got accepted to be somebody reached out. I submitted my videos to some TV show, and they're having a reality show with comics, and they want me to come live in this house and all this stuff. I was like, I'm not doing that. What I look like? I'm 51 years old. I don't care who's there. I'm not doing it. I don't care what
See,
opportunities come from that.
that's what it is,
I'm not
Chad. Exactly. You just did it. You just did what you do, right? I'm not doing it.
I'm not
And
doing that.
I know, like, and this the whole theory to this pod, right, is to really have a conversation like we're sitting in your living room or my living room, and we're shooting the breeze, right? And you just did
Yeah.
it right now. Like, that's what's awesome about your content, is that it's you. Like, you're not doing, and for anybody watching and listening, there's no mimicking what anybody else. This, like, what he does, I've never seen anybody do it. The delivery, the way he's talking, and even the topics. It hasn't been done, and that's why people appreciate you, Chad. And I guess I'm giving you your flowers in a sense.
Thank you,
That's
man. I
what that's
appreciate
what
it.
has me following you. That's what has me interested in interviewing you and just seeing what you're about, right? And
Thank you, man.
it's awesome. It's awesome to see it live here in the interview. And you say, I'm not doing. I do it more New Yorker style, but like I'm not doing it. Like you get out of here.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, leave me alone.
no, I'm not doing that. Any success I have I'm already successful in life, and that is not that's not bragging. That's just where God has me. I've gone through my struggles, but right now at this station in my life, my, my firm is healthy. My family is good. My wife is good. I don't need entertainment, the entertainment industry. So anything I do in the entertainment industry is going to be on my terms,
Mm,
period. And that's just it. I'm not seeking out any opportunities that's gonna I'm not selling my soul or making any crazy sacrifices for no
right,
opportunity. You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah,
Now, if Jamie Foxx calls me and says, Chad, I want you to be on this comedy show, then I quit.
I'm gone.
So now they gotta look for that. They gotta look for a job in there.
That's awesome,
So we'll
man.
see what happens.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate too, like you being so real and saying that you are successful. And so, people measure success in so many different ways, but the success I see in you, Chad, is seeing your peace in your face. Like you're visually look like a man that's at peace and that's confident and knows what he's doing and what he wants and what he's pursuing. And then aside from that,
Thank you.
you're a soul that's open to seeing what else God has in store for you. And I think that's
Right.
super inspiring just to see, like, even when you said, like, you did the course, the crash course for 7 weeks. You did it, you knocked it out, came back, did that for a couple years or 16 years, I think you said, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then law caught your attention, and you went to that. And passing the bar is no easy task. I know I didn't ask you, but
Right.
like that, what was that like? Because I know
That
one of my
was
neighbors, it has taken it, I think, 6 times,
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's
and it's three
crazy.
grand. I think he
It's
said each time you go take
every
it.
time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I took, like I said, I graduated from law school in 2009. I didn't take the bar until 2014. So when I went to start studying for the bar, it was like I was having to learn everything from scratch almost. So I took it in June of 2014. I failed it. And then I started studying right away, and I took it the following year, this in June in 2015, and I passed that time. But the time I took it, when I took it the first time, I thought I was like, yeah, maybe I passed. You know, when I finished, I was like, maybe I passed. I did pretty good on parts, but maybe not, and I didn't pass. But when I took it in 2015, I was like, I'm done. That's a wrap. I passed that. I know I passed. I studied nobody in this room studied as much as I did, and I was very confident throughout the whole exam, and I was relaxed, and I just knew I passed.
So
Yeah, so but that's not everybody's story. Like you said, I know people who took it several times as well. It's just a very difficult exam. It's a
yeah,
it's a it's not just like a test. It's like something you have to conceptualize what they're looking for, and it's tough, man.
yeah. I've
Like
heard, like, the neighbor's brother-in-law. He mentioned it to me that it's serious, and it makes you almost want to quit because 6 times, and he's like, the last time I think he failed by a couple, like a point or two, something crazy like that.
oh,
So then
yeah, it's tough.
the other thing I wanted to ask you too, and I forgot to ask, being that you are an attorney and you're pursuing comedy, are you ever concerned about what your clients may think about you being a comedian and being an attorney? Like, is that ever something that comes across you, or does that actually work to your benefit?
No, I don't care. I don't care at all. I don't even care a little bit. I don't care. The thing is that there's lawyers out there for everybody. There's if you don't like people who you don't like lawyers who do comedy, then go find another lawyer. I got a lot of clients. My phone is ringing every day. I'm turning down cases. I'm not worried about nobody. I'm getting so much love. It's like when you get this much love from people, then it's basically a signal that God telling you, okay, you're on the right track. If God is telling me through the people that I'm on the right track, I don't care about what nobody has to say about that. I
Yeah.
could care less. I'm not
Yeah.
worried. And I've had people who I had a chiropractor call me one time. He was like, "Yeah, I referred a case to you, but they said they saw your Instagram and they don't want to come to you." I was like, "Good, carry on. I don't want them anyway." You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because God will bring me my clients. I want I want my tribe, my clients, my fans, my followers, my people. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
like I'm attracted to people. I'm not attracted to I don't just go to anybody. I go to the people that I'm attracted to. And I'm too spiritual to be worried about that. You know what I mean?
Love that. Love that. That also, and you saying that gives me validation for my journey, right? Where I need to always think like that because I like to think of myself as a light for others. Where like I was on the phone yesterday with somebody and it was their first time doing some content, and I'm like, just put that shit out, put it out, just stand in front of the camera, be you. I said the first one is probably not gonna be the greatest, but that's your first step. That's your first day at the gym, right? Like you
Yeah.
want what you
Work it
want. You
out.
want like that's your. I always call it reps. That's why I love comedy because I remember I think it was Kevin Hart who was talking about watching either Dave Chappelle on stage or Chris Rock, and he said they call it taking class. So when you go watch another
Absolutely.
comedian who's more seasoned or something like that, and that's what I say. Like I'm like just keep pushing forward. Like if you have that desire to do something, that was God given. That just didn't
Yeah.
show up, and that's why like with
Absolutely.
yourself, you are a testament to that because you've been given these ideas and these things, and you've executed on them and have done well, so well that
Yeah,
you've been
yeah,
like, you know what, this is not where I want to be anymore. Let me try this. And you've done well
yeah,
there. So you're being obedient. That's what my homegirl who's a pastor says. She's like, you're being
yeah.
obedient. So it's awesome, man. So I tip my hat to you with that. In having the
Thank
amount
you,
of
man.
you're welcome, man. You deserve that. You deserve all the flowers that I'm putting out
Appreciate
there.
you.
And this wasn't planned, but I just, going with the vibe and really feeling it and acknowledging another man at that doing his thing and being able to give him the credit that he deserves.
That's dope.
And with you acquiring the followers that you have, because I did see other pages that you have, and you have followings on all of them. Specifically talking about this one, how has that been in you achieving having 73,000 followers? What has that done for you mentally and spiritually?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I look at followers differently now than I did, say, 3 months ago, when I was at 20,000 followers, What I've learned is that no matter how many followers you get, you're always gonna compare yourself against the person who has more followers than you, you know?
Right.
Like when I got 70,000, I got 70,000, 73,000 or something followers right now. And I could not have imagined having 73,000 followers 2 months ago
Mm.
when I was at 33,000 followers.
So you grew
And
40,000 in 2 months.
yeah,
Holy
because
smokes.
I had another viral video. Every time you go get a viral video, then the followers go up. It
Right.
was really more than that because I have 3 pages. So I'm just talking about 1 page, right? But I had that video where I said, "Have you ever been a non-hood dude at a hood activity?" Did you see that one yet?
Say it again. Have you ever been?
Have you ever been a non-hood dude at a hood activity?
I don't think so.
Like, you haven't seen that one?
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, that video went viral just like the pinky toe video. Well, not as much. No video has gone that viral, but it went up to over 1.5 million views. It might be closer to 2 million right now on TikTok and Instagram, and my followers went up 30,000 in June alone, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, and now, like, so I was it was a time where I was getting like 1,000 followers a day on I'm talking about one page, 1,000 followers a day, right? So right now I probably get like maybe 2 to 300 followers a day. Just
It's
right now.
insane.
I don't really have a viral video right now. I just have video. I mean, my videos, get 20,000, 30,000 views, right now. But the followers, I think, I don't know, man. I'm way more impressed with seeing somebody in public. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's fun. And then also the view count, like like having five. I believe I had like over 10 million views in June alone. 10 million views. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of eyes on your content.
Right.
And
You're
then
touching people.
yeah, touching a lot of people. And then also when other famous comedians follow me, that kinda, like, makes me feel like my comedy's legit, those are like like D.L. Hughley and Bill Burr and Cedric the Entertainer and Sheryl Underwood, like, these people that I've looked up to and watched for so long, now they're watching me and following my content and sharing my content on their stories and stuff like that. That's very rewarding. I'm watching the follower count, I'll watch it, I pay attention to it,
That's not it for
but
you. For you is really like the impact. Because I
yeah,
agree
it's
with you.
like
Like,
a
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. People ask me all the time, like, how your videos perform? For me, and I guess it's my way of coping with the fact that I know that I'm still on the journey and I'm not halfway there. I'm not, you know what I mean? But for me, it's when people say, "Hey, I saw that video with so and so, and I love this part." Like that to me is everything. Like that
Right.
moment right
It
there
does.
when it gives me that validation, and I'm very spiritual too, so I always feel like God sent that. Like if I was feeling down, like, oh, what am I doing? Boom. And I'm like, I look up and I'm like, I get it. I get it. I'm gonna keep at this until I get my six pack. You know what I mean? Like that I always
Yeah.
compare it. I've never had a six pack, by the way, but I always compare it to that because I know how much work it takes to get something like that,
Yes.
right? So I
Yes,
think
it
that's
does,
awesome.
man.
In
And I'm sorry. I will say too that I want to be grateful. So every morning I wake up and I think faith over fear, trust over control, gratitude over desire, love over judgment, humility over knowledge, and patience. So faith, fear, gratitude, love, humility, patience. And I want to make sure that that's the foundation of my existence. I want to be appreciative of, I, I hate that I get 70,000 followers and then I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to get 100. You know what I mean? Like there's
yeah,
something in me that feels icky about that. Like there's so much support for me right now. So I do watch my follower count. I am appre I'm appreciative that I have 73,000 followers and how many ever on the other pages. But the people who are watching me right now today, who are watching this podcast, who are watching my videos every day, I want to just appreciate those people too. That's why I go
right.
live because I just want to go on live and just and appreciate the people who are, with me in the now.
That was that day. I don't know what day that was. It was probably maybe like a month or so ago, and
Mhm.
it inspired the crap out of me just seeing because you see people's like when you visit a page, you see the followers, but then
Yeah.
does that really translate to you affecting people's lives? Meaning, if you go live, will they show up? Will people go on? And just seeing the amount of people that were just talking and asking you questions and just really in there trying to like get you to say
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
to them and that was very inspiring for me just to see that you are touching the people and people are being affected by your comedy and you're bringing joy to people's lives. That's like super inspiring and just
Yeah.
seeing that like I'm not a guy that cries, but sometimes it's an emotional thing for me where it's almost like you get so happy that it almost brings tears, and just to imagine what you're feeling when you
Yeah,
see that, when you're connecting to the people. So I like that too.
yeah.
In all these things that you're pursuing and all the things that you're doing, and I'm sure like me, I'm a father, a husband. I've been with my wife now 15 years. We've been married for 12.
Wow. Congrats, man.
Thank you, man. And like yourself, I'm a man with that I'm a dreamer, right? And I hate saying that sometimes because I feel like that people look at you, and I shouldn't care, right? Like you said, like I don't care, right? In New York style, who cares? But
Yeah.
I still, it's almost like I'd rather keep that close to the chest, and I've learned
Mhm.
to just go for it, not worried about
Yeah.
anything going on in the outside world. But in doing that, I'm somebody who picks up a lot of things, and I have to juggle all these things. Like I have my full time job, the podcast. I have two separate. I have a bounce house company, and I do window cleaning on the side, just to make some extra paper, here and there, so I can make sure I
Mhm.
can spoil the wife when she wants to be spoiled. And then I have like little
Yeah, yeah.
tech geek habits that I buy different cameras and stuff. So the biggest challenge
Yeah.
for me right now is balancing those things. So for a man like yourself, that you have your own business, your own law firm, and then you have all these other different things. How do you balance that and your family life?
So that's a good question, man. I think you sound like you're doing a great job, honestly.
Thank you.
Sometimes our minds will tell us otherwise, or our minds will be looking into the future too far. It'll give us a sense that we're not balancing things. But you're balancing everything great, man. I mean, I think the main thing is to figure out how to give your all to what's happening in the present moment. Because
Love that.
nothing else matters outside of this present moment. And then when you make the present moment the most important thing, and yeah, I'm not saying that the future doesn't matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying it doesn't matter as much as the present.
Right.
Nothing matters as much as the present. And sometimes the anxiety, if you have anxiety, or you have a sense that you're not doing something, or your fear or something that's negative, that's usually a sense that's usually something that comes from the fact that you're looking at in the future too much, or you're spending too much psychological time outside of the now. Because
Right.
all you could do is this. There is no other moment than this moment. This is the most sacred, most amazing, most this moment will never be here again, and it has never been here before. This is the only moment there is. And if we could wrap our minds around how how divine and how sacred this present moment is, then we could create the life that we want in the future. It'll automatically create itself, you know? And then also worry is negative current. Worry is like rowing against you got if you're in a boat that's going with the current, then you don't have to do nothing.
Yeah.
You don't even have
Yeah.
to do nothing. Just be in the present. You know, so worry kind of is like you're rowing against the current. You're slowing yourself down because you're not letting the universe do its part. Like, how could you do everything? Like, if it's up to you to be successful, you're gonna fail because you need people that you don't even know about right now. You need them to be talking about you and thinking about you and listening to you and watching your videos and stuff. They're not in. You don't have control over that. So you got to have faith over fear, trust over control. You don't have control. Let go of control. And the best way to let go of control is to live in the now. Be in
Mm.
the present.
You
Be in
preaching,
the
man. You
present.
preaching, and I'm
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm feeling what you're putting down, man. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's it's so much less stress. Like the less stress you have, the more things will unfold as they're intended to unfold. The more stressed out you are and the more you strive and push and try to force, then the more clunky things seem to happen. You
Yeah.
know? It just seems like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, you know? Let it happen for you, you know? Like, don't take on the burden of having to make things happen. Do what you love, be in the present. Do what you love, be in the present. Like, when you're with your kids, be with your kids fully and completely. When you're with your wife, be with her, you know? charm her, remind her why she got swooped up. You know what I'm saying? Constantly just be there in the present. And then watch how things unfold. You're just one relationship away from the best relationship that you've ever had in your life. The
Right.
most important relationship. This might be it. Maybe this is it.
Now, and that's in being a dreamer. I think that that's why it's important to be a dreamer. And what this episode is doing for me is letting loose of that too. Because at one point I was afraid to say I was an entrepreneur because everybody says that, but I'm proving that I am that because I'm showing my work. I show people when I'm picking up a bounce house with my little 9-year-old son, and then I'm off, to the next thing, whatever it may be. So I'm not no longer afraid to say things like that. And this episode was doing for me is I'm no longer afraid. And I'm not saying like I'm cured, but it's giving
Yeah,
me the courage to say I am a dreamer, but I'm a go-getter.
absolutely.
I dream about doing these things like, and this within itself is in dreaming some about interviewing somebody like yourself that's bringing joy to the world and had me cracking up. It was part of being a dreamer because I'm like, I feel like I could get him on the show and we can have a dope episode and it'll be great and we keep it moving. But that's what you're doing for me, Chad. Like right now is it's making me more comfortable to say like I am a dreamer, but with that, you still have to be a go-getter. Like it's
Yeah,
not enough to just have faith in God without putting the work behind it. And I think a lot of people get that misconstrued where it's like, you can't just sit there and
yeah.
pray and not move, you know?
You gotta execute. You gotta execute. You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta move. You gotta make moves. You gotta take a risk for
Yeah, I
sure.
feel that. The last question that I have for you, and this is more of your time to kind of speak to the world. Is there anything that you want to give off to the viewers, to the listeners that, they may not know of you or some piece of advice or anything that comes to your heart right now that you just want to give off to the world?
I think this was a dope interview, man. And I think if people want to listen back on this video, listen back to this interview, I think they'll get everything that I wanted to share. And you brought it out of me. I just want to, say thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity. You have very, very high vibrations, and those are the type of people I want to surround myself with. I look forward to watching the Mr. Madrid show and seeing how you blow up in the future and how you continue to bring people on and have these type of engaging conversations and maybe even coming back and visiting you in the future.
For sure, man, for sure. And I already know that, because similar to yourself is when I open up to someone, like I want to, it's almost like when you show God that you are 10 toes down and you want to prove yourself worthy of the blessings, right? It's the same way with me in relationships, whereas like, I would love to come see one of your shows one day. And I've never been to Cali. And, I'm a huge Tupac fan. Even though he was born in New York, he always mentioned
Hmm.
Sacramento, Inglewood, all those spots. And I would love to go see it. So that would be
Right.
like a push. But just to actually, see you in action and living out this next version of your dream and what you're pursuing and just to see where you take it. And I know it's gonna go far just because you are bringing light, man. And I know I've said that a couple different ways, but it's just dope to see and to hear your story and the different versions of how your journey, the different chapters, not versions, the different chapters of your life and how you've executed. You said that word, and that's exactly what you're an execute. It sounds like I'm like somebody who does like murders and stuff, but you're an execute. You
Killing
execute, man.
it.
This you killing you're doing the damn thing, right? But
Yes,
I
yes, sir.
thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your
Of
journey, for
course.
being vulnerable, for letting the folks into a different side of yourself. And yeah, man, you've earned yourself a friend on this side. I'm in Florida, but if ever you're around, and we could say this offline, but I just wanted to let you know, like that I am invested in all things that you said. The vibration, the frequency is there. So
Yes. I
same.
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I haven't been on the East Coast much. I played football one time at Hofstra. That's about as much as I've been on to the East Coast. But this comedy, like I said, this is about to allow me to travel and see the world a little bit. So stay tuned, hold on to your horses, and I look forward to making you proud out there, man.
Appreciate it, man. We look forward to it.
All right, brother.